So I was close to selling all of my Cardano at 82 cents. Seriously, I had my finger on the trigger. Now I'm convinced that 82 cents might have been the biggest bargain of my life. Why the sudden 180, you're thinking? Well, buckle up, because I stumbled onto something that completely flipped my perspective on ADA. So it's story time. A few weeks ago, I'm looking at my crypto portfolio and Cardano is just sitting there at 82 cents, not really doing too much. Meanwhile, of course, Bitcoin's hitting new highs. Ethereum's on a tear and XRP is making headlines left and right. And ADA? It's kind of like just watching paint dry. Now, I remember thinking, am I the idiot still holding this while everyone else is having a party with other coins? You know the feeling when you're at a concert and every other band has played their big hits, but your favorite band hasn't even come on the stage just yet. That was kind of me with Cardano. But just when I was about to hit the sell button, I saw something. Actually, I saw a couple of things that kind of made me pause. Not just pause, actually, it kind of made me double down. By the end of this video, you might actually see why ADA at 82 cents went from meh, maybe I should bail, to hold on a second, this could be huge in my book. Now, I promise this isn't some hopium-filled hype session. It's actually more like a personal adventure through some really interesting data and a gut feeling that I just can't shake. Now, trust me here, right? I'm taking you with me on this one. All right, let's start things off by jumping into what changed my mind about Cardano. And here's the spoiler. It involves a popular crypto analyst, some weirdly bullish data, and even a sneaky move by the Cardano devs that almost nobody is talking about. So let's start by rewinding just a little bit. Late last year, around November to December 2024, Cardano had this major move, right? If we were around, or if you were around, you would remember. It was kind of like waking up to find ADA suddenly sprinting when it had been limping for months, right? And I rode that wave up. It was absolutely glorious. But then, after New Year's, the excitement just fizzled. The price went sideways. It was like ADA kind of partied too hard and it just needed to take a long nap, right? It couldn't break the high that it is set in December, and even by March 2025, every time it tried to kind of push past those previous highs, no, it just denied it. And as an investor, that kind of got frustrating, right? So you're sitting there going, come on, ADA, do something. Breakout already, but it just kept chilling in that range. Now, you can flash forward to early July of 2025, and out of nowhere, ADA starts waking up again. From July 8th onwards, we've got this kind of 13-day rally. Now, I'm checking my phone, and every day is kind of like green, green, green. Cardano jumped something like 46% in a month, and we're at 82 cents right now, which, okay, it's not $5 or anything glamorous, but after being stuck under $1 for what felt like forever, 82 cents, it kind of felt a bit like progress. Now, one of those days, I see a red day, a slight dip, and I'm like, uh-oh, here we go, back to Snoozeville. But it was just one red day, and right after that, back to green. So it was a bit like ADA took a quick breath and then just kept running. No major crash, no immediate reversal, just a little pit stop. Now, here is where things get really interesting. Around this time, I came across an analyst by a guy who basically said ADA at 82 cents is still very cheap considering where we are in this bull cycle. Cheap. 82 cents, cheap. Now, for context, last bull run, ADA hit around $3, so 82 cents is roughly a quarter of that. But he wasn't just talking about returning to old highs. He was saying that ADA's price could basically or easily blast past $4, maybe even hit $7 or $8 in this cycle. So I almost spit out my coffee when I read that, right? $8 for ADA from under $1, that's nearly a 10x. If that happens, well, I'm gonna be very happy, Cardano holder, right? Let's kind of put it that way, shall we say. But naturally, of course, I was skeptical at the same time. Bold predictions are like belly buttons, right? Everyone's got one, but and I should say, and almost none, all of them don't actually really matter, right? It's interesting. So I wanted to see why he was actually saying all of this, and his reasoning actually made some sense. See, he pointed out that Cardano's big run in late 2024 was followed not by a huge crash, but by a kind of plateau. After that spike, the price modestly went sideways, kind of like a coiled spring just sitting there loaded with potential energy. Then ADA kind of failed to break the December 2024 peak and the March 2025 high, but it didn't really tumble to new lows. So in other words, Cardano was basically consolidating, gathering steam. So according to him, we're still early in a longer uptrend. The rally that I just enjoyed might actually be the start of something much bigger. And hearing that, a light bulb went off in me, right? I thought, you know, maybe I've been looking at this all wrong. Instead of thinking, ADA's not moving, maybe I should have thought ADA's loading up for the next big jump. It's kind of like when you watch one of those strongman competitions on TV. You see the competitor trying to pull a truck, and at first the truck's wheels are barely budging. It looks like nothing is happening, but really he's building momentum, and then suddenly the truck starts rolling and picks up speed. Cardano might be that strong man. Plus, it's not like the whole market is sleeping, right? Bitcoin's been doing its thing, Ethereum's been buzzing, and XRP had its moment in the spotlight too. So a lot of the big names have already made substantial moves, or even set new highs. So here's this thought. Or there is this thought, I should say, that if the giants have had their run, maybe it's time for the ones who've lagged a little bit behind to have theirs. Now, Cardano is a top 10 crypto. It's not some obscure altcoin. It's like one of the headliner bands that's just played their big song set. So the guy basically hinted that Cardano's turn, it could be Cardano's turn next, right? And honestly, that kind of felt, or at least that line kind of got me a little bit hyped up. I'm picturing ADA stepping up like, all right, it's my turn to bat. But I didn't just blindly take one analyst's word for it, right? I'm a data nerd at heart, or maybe a skeptic with too much time on his hands. So I started digging into some of the numbers myself, especially with what was happening in the behind the scenes markets for ADA. Now, I'm talking derivatives like futures and options, where a lot of the big signals can actually hide. And so I found that daily trading volume in ADA futures had dropped by over 50%. So we're talking, you know, or at least I guess talking it got cut in half, right? Down from $2.16 billion. Now, knee-jerk reaction. People are losing interest. Volume is drying up. That can't be bullish, right? It's kind of like walking into a party that half the people have already left. Not usually a great sign, is it, right? But that is when I noticed the open interest. That number went up by 2.5% to roughly $1.47 billion. Even as trading volume tanked. So, picture that party. Again, half the people left, but the ones who stayed are the ones who actually care about what is happening next. So in plainer English, a bunch of short-term, probable kind of flaky traders packed up and went home, taking their volume with them. But the more serious money is staying put, maybe even growing slightly. Now, here's an even weirder thing, right? Options trading on ADA pretty much fell off a cliff, right? The options volume plunged about 93%, down to practically nothing. So it's kind of like the entire market said, meh, we're not bothering with complex options, option plays on ADA right now. So at first, I kind of scratched my head at that one. Does nobody really care? But then I thought about it. Often, if traders expect big moves, they might actually prefer to play it straight, at least play with straight futures, or just by holding ADA, rather than fiddling around with the options. And since open interest was rising while volume was dropping, it actually tells me that people are leaning towards straight up, you know, holding their positions and not bothering with the fancy bets. Now, by the way, Around this data nerd phase, I was sharing some tidbits in our free educational Discord server. So if you're not in there, you might want to join. There's a link in the description. It's a great place where a bunch of us crypto geeks trade insights, charts, and yes, plenty of memes. Anyway, let's get back to the story. Now at this point, the technicals and the market data are painting a picture that ADA might be gearing up for something, right? But I also like to consider the fundamentals. So what's going on with Cardano behind the scenes, aside from the price? Now, the Cardano Foundation, it launched a tool called the Tool Compass. Now, it matches developers with the right tools that they need to build on Cardano. Now, that means that building on Cardano just got a lot easier, and that's pretty bullish for the long term. There was also a report about network activity spiking in early July. They recorded over 111 million network interactions, including over 138,000 Plutus scripts and nearly 8,000 Akin scripts. Now that means that people are building and they're deploying smart contracts. This isn't a ghost chain anymore. So at this point, I had gone from I might sell this soon to I might actually buy some more. And I did. I grabbed a little more ADA on a bit of a dip. Nothing crazy. I'm not remortgaging my house, but it kind of felt like the right move. And by the way, this one might just shock you, but I'm not a financial advisor and nothing in this video is financial advice, right? Cryptocurrencies, they are highly volatile and you could lose all of the money that you invest. You should always do your own research and consult a qualified professional. After all, your investments are entirely your responsibility and you should know that nothing is ever guaranteed when it comes to investing. Neither I, this channel, nor YouTube are liable for any losses. And this video today is for entertainment and educational purposes only. Okay, now that we've got that clear, I'm going to tell you what I do. At least tell you what to do. I can't tell you what to do. I'm going to tell you what I'm doing. I'm going to let me tell you what I'm thinking and what I'm feeling as an investor riding this Cardano roller coaster, right? I had a conversation with a Bitcoin Maxi buddy of mine, right? I told him everything I just shared here, right? And he goes, that actually sounds pretty solid. Maybe I'll throw a couple of $100 into ADA. And I'm sitting there thinking, wait, did I just convert a Maxi? Right now, holding on to Cardano through its kind of boring phase, it taught me a lot of things about patience. And it was kind of like planting a fruit tree, right? For months, it just looked like a stick, right? And then one day you see a flower, then a tiny fruit, and then eventually, boom, right? Apples everywhere. So here's where I land, right? Cardano is around 82 cents. It doesn't feel overpriced to me. It feels like a sleeper. Could I be wrong? Yeah, of course, right? But right now I've got research backing up my decision not to sell, not just hype. Oh, and by the way, if you're looking at crypto exchanges, I personally use Kraken Pro. It's a great place for setting limit orders and managing my trades. There's an affiliate link that's in the description, so it supports the channel here at no extra cost to yourself. So guys, thanks for hanging out with me today. If ADA moons, I'll be back with an update. If it crashes, well, I'll still be here, probably with an ice cream or so. So for now, guys, you can hit that subscribe button and join me in the next crypto adventure.